Let's talk more about some of these treatment trades here. Joining us now is Brian Skorney, Senior Biotech Research Analyst at Baird. Brian, great to speak with you. Your last note
great to speak with you as well.
On Regenron on September 29th is titled the cocktail modestly reduces viral load, but unlikely to be a game changer. The fact that the president of the United States is taking this and it appears that there are some positive outcomes so far, is that in itself a game changer to your view?
Not at all. And I think the problem that we're seeing again and again in all of the clinical data that we're seeing for SARS-CoV-2 is that you really can't go by anecdote to describe what the effect is here. Most patients recover. Donald Trump, our president, very likely with no treatment would recover. So using anecdote to try to project what drugs work and what drugs don't work is really a major flaw in the analysis here. Really, and that's why we do randomized controlled studies to really measure the true difference from placebo. You recall back in the April-May timeframe, there was a lot of enthusiasm for Remdesivir. People thought these mortality rates that we were seeing in single-arm studies were really amazing. And then we saw the actual data, and it works. It's definitely a drug that seems to have an effect, but that enthusiasm that it would really change the paradigm for this disease really never materialized in the clinical data. I think you'll see something similar with the REGN-CoV-2 cocktail. It's very encouraging, reduces viral load, seems to have some clinical effects. But, I'd find it difficult to believe that this drug is really changing the game. And even when you look at the time course for the president, it's unlikely that it's contributing a major benefit to him, because he did start this on Friday. Then he went on to Remdesivir. If I was, I'm not his doctor, but the White House doctors are very, very smart. If he was really doing just fantastically great, this just completely decimated his viral condition, he wouldn't start dexamethasone on Sunday. So is it probably having an effect? It's probably having a small effect. But I don't think this is what is curing him of the disease.
Hey, Brian, it's Guy. Sorry, I don't know if Mel had a quick point. I was going to ask you a question, and I think you're saying sort of what Steve just said. Obviously, I understand what Regeneron, I get the headlines, but I think buried in that was the fact that one of your competitors, I think it was Cantor, upgraded the stock $690 price target on the back of Dupixent, which is a completely different drug for a completely different thing. I think Regeneron, I see the headlines, but it's more about other things that they have that are actually out there and working, isn't it? And I think those are the reasons why you'd want to stay with a name like Regeneron.
So I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Dupixent's been a great drug. It's a fantastically profitable endeavor for both Sanofi and Regeneron. But, it was the same as it was, a year ago when the stock was trading at 300, half the valuation. And I don't necessarily think that there's been a huge dynamic change. Now, when it was 300, I was much more positive on the stock. It's ridden a lot on the COVID thesis. And, I think it's fair to say a lot of these names have not really supported long-term valuation from COVID. It's sort of been a temporary trade. And look, maybe this will be the drug, and I'll be wrong, and we'll see some full randomized controlled data, and this will be the drug that'll really drive profitability for Regeneron. I just don't think it's likely. You look at these names, the enthusiasm trade has really only been very temporary on, across all the COVID stocks.
So just to underscore that point, Brian, basically Gilead, Regeneron, you're not expecting them to make money off of any of these treatments. Even if tomorrow an EUA were granted for this antibody cocktail, Regeneron wouldn't make a penny, would it?
I don't know that they wouldn't make a penny. I think in the scale of their valuations, I think the profitability generated would be pretty insignificant.
All right. Brian, great to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Skorney of Baird. Tim, what do you make of these? He said they were trades. They are trades. Look at them.
I agree. And we've seen that. We've seen that for the last 5 months as we've been talking about really this run, and they've been market days and they've been trades. And if you look at Gilead, this is a stock that's basically trading kind of near 3-year lows and back at the bottom. In fact, if anything, look, the driver for Gilead is this Immunomedics deal that they did at 108% premium, which is a major bolster to what has been their plan in oncology. And some sense that they actually knew some of the data on their key drug going into this that gave them the confidence to pay what they paid. In fact, I did Gilead as a final trade somewhere last week, and my view is that both the valuation, the balance sheet, which was able to do this deal of $15 billion in cash and $6 billion in debt, is very attractive at these levels, and a stock that's bounced from these levels. That's why you want to own Gilead here, because they made that big transaction, and I think the market better understands the strategy.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.